You're listening to Brigade Radio 1.
Welcome to the Antisocial Show.
They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming to get you.
Your hosts, Hunter Block and Tyson Zimmerman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Anti-Social Show. Tonight is going to be a night of epicness. I'm Hunter Block, and he's
Tyson Zimmerman.
Hello, Tyson.
Hey, how have you been?
I've been all right. And yourself, sir?
Not bad, not bad. So we're getting a bit of an early start.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nothing like to get an early start, jump right in, because tonight we have epicness in its finest. Dear listener, I set this in motion last Saturday, and I had asked a guest to come on tonight, a very epic, awesome guest, a huge bucket of win, and he said yes, and all we had to do was iron out the details and the time, and yes. He'll be joining us in just a few minutes, and we can let the party start. Our guest is producer, director, and screenwriter for a couple of things, like, just to name a few, like the Gilmore Girls, the Golden Girls, Roseanne, a very Brady sequel, and he is Stan Zimmerman.
Okay, so full disclosure. There was a major sound snafu with my audio for some reason. So until about an hour into the program, the audio file where I was recording myself was completely blank. It's blank, 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 and then the beginning of the game when I ask our guest, Mr. Zimmerman, if he has a hard out, which he makes a joke about. And then from there, the sound is basically normal. So I'm going to edit around it. I'm going to leave in what I can, take out what doesn't make sense. Thankfully, Hunter asked a good amount of questions instead of me, and Mr. Zimmerman was a great guest who had plenty of stories to tell, so enjoy. Thank you for listening.
Oh, there you
Hello.
Hello. Looks like you're in a bunker there.
A little. Oh, him or me?
Both. Well, you look like you're in a spaceship. You look like you're in a bunker, so we're all good, right?
Yeah, I mean, this house is technically cinder block, so I guess it could be like a fallout shelter because it's not going nowhere.
Okay. Do you have enough food?
Yeah.
You're not lacking in that department.
No, I'm not. One to look at me right now will know that I'm not lacking in the food department.
I was actually in New York when COVID, shut down New York in mid-March last year. And really the number one fear I had, because I just saw pictures of the empty shelves in Los Angeles, thinking like we wouldn't have food or anything. Yeah, I kind of created my own little, if you could see it, it's a little command center in my bedroom where I teach sitcom pilot writing classes. I've directed Zoom plays, had meetings, just, what you have to do. I just couldn't, for some reason at the beginning of COVID, I couldn't just sit here. At the beginning I actually was sick, and I did test positive for antibodies in April. So I got it in New York, not bad, but definitely I couldn't breathe. And so at that point, we couldn't get tested. You couldn't go to the doctors unless you had a fever, which I didn't have. And I could still smell and eat. So I just stayed and rested. And then in middle of April, I was better. And then I just got into attack mode. And I was like, okay, I got to keep all my projects alive. And how do I do it? And then I saw some friends doing Zoom play readings. So I was doing, I contacted companies. I was doing things once a month. I had a new script that I was working on, and I got to hear it on Zoom. I got some actors together that would normally be too busy, and they did a Zoom reading for me because I wanted to hear a play and how it sounded through their voices. And it was just a little annoying, but exceedingly productive in a weird way.
What was the annoying part? If I may,
just
was it
me? That's your one question you got?
No, I got many questions. But since you're on the topic, I was it because you had to do like over like Zoom or not in person or
annoying probably from some people like what does he want to do now? But yeah, just because like this working in the different boxes, and then I got a little more ambitious. By the end of the year, I was so sick of the boxes that I was supposed to direct an original play of mine in North Carolina, and obviously that got canceled. And the producer said, "Would you want to record it?" And I said, "I will, but I can't do the two actors in boxes." And they're literally, one was in Bethesda, one was in Santa Monica. So it's a one play. So, and they had done the play before. So what me and my producing partner, Stephanie Von Huben, figured out is we could have them look at each other and green screen it and then create a background so it looked like they were in the same room. And
that's awesome.
We found the right picture. It looked like, it was a still picture, it looked like they were actually sitting on sofas talking to each other. And at the beginning, people thought, they're got to be in the same room. And I'm like, no, they're not in the same room. And then because I had to be a little more ambitious, we created like a movie, a title sequence. And we got a picture of, it takes place in Michigan in Christmas Eve. So we got a picture, a great photograph, and we, slowly panned in and we had music and credits. So it looked like a movie or a real TV show. And because I'm even more insane, I had this idea, what if we did over-the-shoulder shots? So it was almost like I was pioneering like new television. And I was like, hey, yeah, so what I had the actors do, so then there's a scene in the play when we did where the two actors look out the window and they say, oh, it's starting to snow. So again, I was so crazy, I said, what if we saw their point of view and we saw the snow? So I had a friend in Michigan film snow falling. I had the actors stand in front of separate boxes, separate sides of the country, facing the green screen. So it was green screen upon green screen. And what I did was I put the snow falling, then I put a window on it, and then I put their bodies in front. So it looked like they were standing in the same room looking out windows with real snow falling.
That's brilliant.
That I did. It wasn't enough. I had to do over-the-shoulder shots. So then I had to do one here and one in the back, vice versa. And then I put a different background behind them. What were the two walls on the side of that room that we just saw the picture of? Yeah. So it was very organic, but and I kept adding like fun things like that. So by the end of the piece, all of a sudden, it was like, what? Like you're doing all that fun stuff, and so it really elevated the piece. And it was technically very simple. We did it with like no money, but it was just fun to watch and made it more exciting for people than they're just in their boxes in their homes, or they're in their kitchen. I mean, it is fascinating because I watch during the past year a lot of cable news, and now the talking heads were in their kitchens, and I wasn't even listening to them. I'm going, what is that? Was that cake? What kind of cake is that back there? And they're like, well, that's really, they have a messy house. Or then the funniest was some of the people in the very beginning of it, they weren't used to it, and they would have children. Like like crawl on the floor, go to the refrigerator, and that just made me so happy to no end. That was really fun to see how crazy things would get, you know, and dogs barking and cats jumping up, and it it is called Yes, Virginia, and
Yes, Virginia. Okay.
and my longtime black housekeeper. And it's a role reversal comedy written in the style of Golden Girls, but also dealing with real issues like dementia, which my mother has. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, so that's really, it's a lot, and it's a lot for her. But dealing with, I mean, it initiated when she didn't want to leave her apartment in Santa Barbara, her condo. And it's like, you have to, you know, you need to live closer to me in LA, and you can't live there. I mean, we can't have you on your own, because every time she wouldn't pick up the phone, of course, my mind goes to the worst. And, you know, I'd be driving up the coast to see if she's okay. And she'd be like, what? I turned the phone off, you know, like, no, you don't turn the phone off. You keep the volume on, you know. But dealing with it in a real funny way, but also a real way. It's a touching piece, but it's also super funny. And so now some different theaters are starting to do the play outside of LA. There's a theater in Leesburg, Florida, the Melon Pack Players, that will be doing the first production I'm not involved with in January of 2022. That's kind of cool to see, you know, your work kind of go out into the world. And it's scary because I won't be involved, so I don't know. You know, when I do plays in LA, what I love about it, different than doing movies and television, when you do theater, it's I pick the play, I pick the music, I pick the set, I pick the actors. I don't have to run it by, you know, 12 people and their ex-wives to a yay or nay, you know, or committee or focus groups. You know, I've had TV shows and I've gone to watched those focus meetings, which are very, very interesting. I was doing a sitcom, and, you know, they pull people in from the mall, and, you know, they give them, you know, pizza and $20, and you watch the sitcom you did, and then they have a group and ask you lots of questions. You know, and they're in in Atlanta or somewhere, and we're in LA watching this. I remember one of the groups. It was a sitcom for Lifetime, and one of the women in the group said there was a line in the script where a teen girl said the word vagina. Well, the woman in the group was like, "I would never. You have to cut that out. I would never say that word, and nobody in my family says that word." It's like, it's a real medical term, you know, and
right.
It's clinical word, and I was ready to like fight for that one. I'm like, come on, I mean, what?
I think I would have laughed at the lady first and then fought for it. I'm like,
yeah, we did. We couldn't. Some of the things you hear. And you're so afraid that the network is going to, because one person in one focus group, and suddenly we're going to like change everything. And those are the frustrating things about doing, you know, mainstream television. But there's also something exciting, and I've kind of had the habit of, you know, I know I'm playing in a sandbox, and there's limits to this, but pushing the limits a little bit, you know, as much as you can within the framework, and sometimes you get away with it, and sometimes you don't. You know.
Now, do you have to do a focus group before you do like a sitcom, before they like do the pilot?
After you film the pilot, but before it goes to series. So that's when, you know. But before it goes to the focus group, you just have everybody second guessing what America will like. Which you don't know, you know. I think they like, you know, sometimes you get caught up in the minutia, and you can't second guess. It's where the world is at. It's the actors. It's the story. Do you fall in love with them? Do you want to come back to them every week? You know, that's why when people say, why is Golden Girls still on the air and kind of bigger than ever? It's like, a magic in a bottle. Like, you don't know. It was just the right time, and those actors were also perfect in their roles. The stories that told were kind of ahead of their time, and people just wanted to. And it's funny still. Yeah, funny. That's the
That show
bottom.
is hilarious.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I will not have a nice day. It's B. Arthur, and it's a line that I wrote. And sometimes and people make these like clothes and everything with them, with lines of mine, and sometimes I have to guilt them into sending them to me, because I don't make any money off of any of that. But it is kind of weird to have like mugs and T-shirts and memes and everything. Yes. Character. She was trying to get tickets to a Frank Sinatra concert. And I always get annoyed, when you get on some of these calls with people, and they always. So that's where it came from. They always end the call with "Have a nice day," and so she's like, "No, I will not have a nice day." Boom. After all that, giving you hell, and then it's like, "Have a nice day." A new play that I'm working on is called "Have a Good One," and it's about Abercrombie and Fitch type store in 1999 in the Midwestern Mall, and it's about 4 young people that work at the store, and really it's about the theme of what's beauty, who decides what's beautiful, and it also stems from. I would look at pictures of myself, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and I was like, you weren't so bad looking, but at the time, I thought I was just hideous. Like, what is wrong that we can't appreciate where we are at the moment? Can you?
Society.
Society. Let's blame society. Yeah.
Because it does promote very youthful, good-looking people, and they create stores that like Abercrombie and Fish, which I can't even fit any of those clothes anyway, and it just kind of puts like fat shame on people that can't, or like take for anyone that doesn't look good working there works in the back, and all the good people work in the front.
Well,
so
one of our characters are those male greeters, they're called, shirtless. And, back in the day, they were mostly all white. So
yes.
We do deal with that. And who decided that was what is, the norm of looking pretty, And I know I didn't feel that way. And so we wanted to examine that in a comedy. And so I'm hoping if everything stays the way it's going in L.A., to produce it as a play in September, October. But, every day we don't know. So it is literally all over the internet, which is so odd for a pilot script, not a filmed pilot, never picked up. It all turned into this worldwide story just from a script that we had that started at the network logo, and they hired my writing partner Jim Bergen and I to write a Gay Men's Golden Girls, is what they called it. So we wrote it, and what I've learned in the theater is you have a reading to hear it out loud, because it's one thing to hear it in your head, and it's another when you have real actors. So I thought we had written it with George Takei in mind. I didn't know George at all. I somehow got his email, and I wrote him an email and said, here's who I am, here's the plot of the show. It's not even written yet, but we're thinking of doing a reading in August or whatever it was. Right away, I'm in. Like, okay. I was like, oh boy, okay. And then we got Leslie Jordan from Will and Grace, Melissa Peterman from Reba, Sherry O'Terry from Saturday Night Live. I mean, we got Bruce Valanche. We got this great cast. And I was like, oh my God, I think we have to invite the network. And the network, usually you go to them. And I was telling them, come to my house in my living room. So they were like, well, okay, no one ever does that. And they came, and I had a line producer there to explain, this is how we can film it for this amount of money, blah, 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 blah. The reading went great, beyond expectations, and everyone was like, how did you make this happen? I was like, I don't know, it came together. The network ultimately didn't have the money to make it, and so we attempted to get it to different major networks to read it. Not one would open the script or read it.
Oh, that's messed up.
They said because it's older characters, it's LGBTQ characters, it was a double combination. And I explained to them, like with Golden Girls, yes, there were older characters, but people of every age loved them. It didn't
100%.
matter how much I explained it. It's still in their head that, older characters and demographics are just not financially exciting to them, which is crazy because we all have more money than probably kids have and are spending it. So I didn't understand that. And I ended up talking about it when I was doing publicity for a web series that I was doing. And that story about, prejudice from my, entertainment community to even read a script, that story became a story, and that went worldwide. But I'm still pursuing it. In the meantime, because I'm not someone that gives up, my writing partner and I turned it into a play, a one-set play. And then over COVID, we did a reading with George Takei, who is very involved and wants to get it produced in New York. And then
That's a great place for it.
Daniel Davis, who was on The Nanny, the British butler.
Ah, yes.
He's not British, but so he was in upstate New York, and we did a Zoom reading. George Takei was at his house in L.A., and then we had Jim J. Bullock from Too Close for Comfort. He was in Palm Springs, and then the director was in Manhattan. And we were all doing it on Zoom, and it was very important for us to hear the play with real actors, and so that was a great experience.
The story, I mean, I haven't heard like the plot or nothing like that, but just what you're describing now, it sounds like something that's really cool and something that I want to watch. So, diversity is what makes a show. And, the fact that the networks didn't pick it up is kind of their loss, because this is what the 21st century is about, diversity. It doesn't matter background, religion, sexual orientation. It's all interesting. So, and, even with the golden...
Older people, we don't get to hear points of view. And
Nope.
it's still sad. So the pilot story we actually came up with after we saw a documentary called Gen Silent. And in the documentary, it talked about, and I love documentaries. I could watch documentaries literally all day long. But it talked about how LGBT elders had to go back in the closet when they went to assisted living. I had never heard of that.
I never heard of that either.
It blew my mind, thinking you spend your life getting free, and then you turn a certain age and you got to go backwards. And even that people that were in couples, they couldn't touch anymore when they were in public spaces. And that was just so sad. So we found a way to make that the story. So that's why we cast Leslie Jordan. We wanted to find the gayest man alive who had to butch it up and hide his true self. And that was, and in the end, George Takei and his ex-lover, but they still live together, take him into their house in Palm Springs, and that's how they became kind of a family.
We should have more TV shows with like older actors because, all right, Golden Girls absolutely worked. It was about a bunch of older women living together in Florida, right? And yes. It worked. The show was funny. It was entertaining. You learned some things. And the movie Cocoon also involved older people, and that movie is a timeless classic, gem from the 80s. It works. So, maybe this country has not only, gotten behind a person's looks, but they're also ageist as well. So,
and it's okay. I see people online or even on TV, still making fun of old people. Like, that's okay to do. And you're like, no, that's not. Or they'll just think it's funny. Oh, old people, they don't know how to work computers or whatever. And that's not true. So it's just,
and
but it's still acceptable. I mean,
and if I might chime in, we have 1,000 TV shows and movies with straight people. It's time to see more LGBTQ type movies. I think it'd be great.
Everybody, there should be. My whole thing is like, we shouldn't. It's a friend said it really great. It was like, you shouldn't have to dim someone's light to make the other person shine. Obviously we haven't had representation of black shows or Asian leads, but we can all shine, and I think it'd be great if we all get together and make those shows so they're not so just everyone in their corners. It's we live in this planet all together, and there's room enough for all of that. And I have never been one of those people. I've had friends that hoped other people's pilots wouldn't go because they felt then theirs could go, and I'm like, no, you've got to celebrate them. Your time in your room will come when it's meant to.
Absolutely.
Now here is where I mentioned the documentary The Celluloid Closet and how much I appreciated it.
Oh yeah, that was...
Then I went on to make some point that I'm not a lip reader, so I can't say what it would be.
Yeah, so me too. So we saw it, my writing partner and I saw it at a film festival, and on the way back to the car, we thought, in the movie, I don't know if you remember, but they talked about how the women's movement, the black movement, and the gay movement kind of all intersected in the summer of '69. And we're walking back to the car, and we said, that's so interesting. If we could find a character that could kind of fall into that world and see all of that. And we came up with this suburban housewife story who went to Greenwich Village to save her sister from becoming a hippie and got involved in all of those movements. And we wrote a script, and we thought, our agent's going to kill us because it was so specific. And I remember my mother had to ask my father permission to go visit her sister in Ann Arbor. And I remember as a kid going, just go. Like, why are you asking him if you can go? And she had to make meals for the entire weekend for us because, God forbid, my father, figured out how to use an oven. Or boil some hot dogs. And so that became the story. And then because I was obsessed with Lily Tomlin, my writing partner and I decided instead of going through agents, we would just hire a messenger and send it to her with a note to her backstage where she was doing her one-woman show. And 2 weeks later, our agent called and said, why is Lily Tomlin calling me? And she loved the script and wanted to do it. And there was a huge big more. And it's still at Universal today with a lot of money against it. But I got to become friends with Lily Tomlin, who I've adored since I was a little kid. And we're both from Detroit. And suddenly, here I am hanging out with her, like having dinners and talking. And, and so...
Was that the search for intelligent signs of life in the universe?
Yes, so she was doing that play then. Yeah.
I saw that film in a double feature with Spalding Gray's Monster in a Box.
Oh my God! Wow, yeah. So I've seen her do that many, many, many times, and she's so extraordinary in it, and such a. I mean, I remember the first time we actually had dinner with her, and I said to my writing partner, "You are not to leave the table. I don't care how. If you have to go to the bathroom, don't leave me alone with her," because I felt like she's so brilliant and so smart, and I'm just this, a mumbling idiot in front of her. So we didn't, none of us left the table. We walked her to the car, the valet, we got her in the car, and for some reason we walked around the side of the restaurant and peed on the side of a wall in Hollywood. So you've made it. You've had dinner with Lily Tomlin at a fancy restaurant, and you're peeing against a wall.
She's phenomenal. She definitely is. So, go ahead, Tyson. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're welcome. So,
You're both too kind to each other. You got to stop.
it happens. It happens quite often on this show. So if you ever listen to the earlier episodes of this show, I am the quiet one because I never. So before this, like I wasn't a talker, and I think that was kind of like my downfall because people thought I was a jerk or an asshole, and like, oh, this guy's just just standing there. He's not saying nothing. He's disrespectful. No, it's because I was shy, didn't want to talk. I was gauging the room before I started talking. Now you can't shut me up, and sometimes
they still think you're a jerk and an asshole, right?
Right, kind of. So, but every once in a while we trip over each other. So I try to, if he's going to say something, like, okay, say it. I can wait.
Yeah. My wrestling partner and I, we've worked so long together that we know when to finish each other's sentences, and it's just something I can hear in his voice when it starts to like slightly go down. I literally jump in and finish it, and we keep going, and we do that. So when we go to a pitch session, people it's like watching a really good tennis match. We often will get, that's the best pitch I've ever heard. We're not buying it, but watching you two was like, it was theater. So it is interesting working with another human being.
You have a heart out, sir.
How dare you? You're not allowed to talk like that these days.
Oh, I apologize.
I'm sorry.
I have a heart out.
That was an easy one. Sorry.
I see. I set you up for a joke there.
Should I have like a signal when I'm ready to go?
Oh, like Carol Burnett?
Yeah.
Well, I only bring it up because for our first-time guests, I usually create a little game that the three of us play. If you would care to, we could launch into it.
Let's go for it.
All right, give me one moment, and I'll be right back.
Sure. Are there drugs involved?
No, I wish. No, I'm kidding. So, dear.
I love that he's still talking.
So, literally, I was going to say, dear listener, but before Tyson gets into it really quick, I have been the champion on this show, or as far as this game is concerned, since the inception, and I actually got my ass handed to me the last couple of times. So, like The Undertaker has to redeem himself at WrestleMania, I have to now be like The Undertaker, and I have to rest Stan's soul in peace, and I have to redeem myself.
If you say so.
As a kid, my dad took us to big time wrestling in Detroit. Now that you're bringing up wrestling, so I went to a lot of those. Bobo Brazil and the Sheik. For those fans out there, yes, there you go.
That's actually my introduction to wrestling, was that era of so when they did the cartoon on Saturday mornings, the Wrestling Super Show, I think it was called. So you were talking Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov and Captain Lou Albano.
I go before all that, yeah.
So who's your first favorite wrestler?
Well, I think it was the Bobo Brazil in Detroit. I don't know what.
So as you said.
There you go. All right, what's this game?
So this game is called "What Do These Mean Words Mean?" So,
what do mean words?
Yeah, MEAN. About I'm going to say 8 or so years ago, I went to Powell's Books in Oregon, and I picked up a book that if I hold it up, it'll be probably reversed. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. It looks like or it'll be completely obscured.
Yes. No. Take it back. Take it back.
There we go.
There you go.
Well, it is reversed. It says depraved and insulting English. And what this is, it's a bunch of words to offend and amuse that are no longer in popular usage, and they've compiled them from A to Z. And I have selected 5.
I just have to tell you right up front, I'm going to lose.
That's fine.
Okay, because I was not a reader as a kid, and for some reason, that was bragging rights. I didn't. And that's why I never thought I could be a writer, because I didn't read. So with that, we shall proceed.
I was going to ask, what was your favorite thing that you didn't read? Sorry, that's
everything Shakespeare, everything. Like I didn't read.
Tartuffe? Oh, so
I saw Tartuffe.
That word is actually in that book. I almost used it, but it's Yeah, because it actually has a definition. I should actually give you an example of it. So let me actually do that one real quick, or I'll find Tartuffe in here. I've seen a version of I saw La Bête, which was, I guess, Molière-esque. Certainly inspired by Molière, and it was fantastic. I saw it in Ashland, Oregon, about now 20 years ago or something. Tartuffe. Okay, so a Tartuffe, it's a noun. It is a religious hypocrite, one who affects piety. And so I guess people used to call other people Tartuffes to be rude.
Oh, you're giving us the definition. Here I was going into thinking mode, okay, he's giving us the first.
No, that's the example. So that word is actually in that word.
What is the game? We have to say what the meaning is?
Well, yeah, so yes. I'll give you a word. I'll spell it. I'll tell you whether it's a noun, adjective, verb, or whatever, and then I'll give you 3 things that it could mean.
That's not fair. He's going to get them all right now because he's...
No, I promise. I promise you I won't, because the last couple of times, I swear to you, I've been dive bombing, and... I mean, my wins has gotten so bad that I became kind of like a shithead about it. So I was like, I'm the champion, and I'm Hunter Mania and all this crap, and then I got shut down. And for the first time, and when I got shut down, I was like, oh, like that. I was really upset. And I'll tell you later, but I kind of think that the opponent had some inside help there. Tyson, excuse me. And that's why I lost the championship belt, and I'm coming for you, brother.
Okay.
But are you just the host, Tyson? You're not playing?
Oh no, I've created the quiz.
He's the host.
I am.
So we're the contestants.
So I got my hosting jacket.
All right.
Yes, it's like a game show. So this is what do these words mean? The first word starts with an S. It is scaphism. I will spell that. It is SCAPHISM. And it is a noun. Scaphism. So, I will give you 3 choices. Does scaphism mean the practice of sourcing food primarily from donations? Is it belief in constant exterior improvement? Or is it C, the practice of covering a victim in honey and strapping him to a hollow tree exposed to stinging insects in order to inflict a lingering death? Hunter, your answer?
B.
Hunter says B.
I was going to say B too.
And Mr. Zimmerman also says B. So are you in fact going to say B?
Yes, I am.
It is in fact C. Scaphism.
Oh!
Scaphism is the practice of covering a victim in honey and strapping him to a hollow tree exposed to stinging insects in order to inflict a lingering death.
So they Candyman. It literally means to Candyman someone's ass.
Yeah, I guess so. That Candyman from the Clive Barker thing?
Yes.
Tying someone to a tree?
Mm-hmm. Specifically a hollow tree exposed to stinging insects. So I'm guessing that
Why would you do that to somebody?
I don't know. It's a form of punishment. Well, let's see. In fact, it might actually have an explanation in here.
Stan, did you ever see the Candyman?
No, but my friend produced the original, Alan Poole.
Oh,
for Bernard Rose?
Yeah, so I went to the screening of that, the opening night.
I always wondered about. It's one of my favorite soundtracks of that of Philip Glass. But the name, so there's 2 characters in Lost who are a couple. One whose name was Bernard, and the other whose name was Rose. And I always wondered if that was an actual reference to Bernard Rose, because certainly the entertainment industry is not above making that kind of joke. So
No.
So scaphism, it is the practice, as what I said. So anyway, and then in quotes it says, Ferdinand was an excellent torturer and a tireless self-promoter as well. Just that morning, he had sent placards to all the local inquisitors reading, quote, thumbscrews not working? Why not give scaphism a try? Affordable rates, group discounts. It's colorful.
There you go. Okay.
That is colorful.
Currently,
I thought I heard of every fetish, but now there's a new one.
People are sick.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Well, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's worse, that or BronyCon. I'm still I'm not sold on the whole, grown men going to something that was designed for little girls, the My Little Pony thing. But hey, listen, I don't yuck anyone's yum, so that's just me.
Go ahead.
It's all good, clean fun. It's okay.
It's an entertaining cartoon. It's
very true.
Good animation. I like animation, but I wouldn't. I don't know if I've never been to a con for anything, unfortunately. But one day after COVID, I plan on.
You go to D23.
Is that the Disney thing?
Yeah, so they did. They brought me down there. They did a big Golden Girls panel, and they had the rattan furniture and a bunch of people from the show, and it was like thousands of people. But it was so cool to walk through and just see. I mean, all the characters. I mean, it was entire Anaheim Convention Center. It was wild. I loved it.
I don't mean to act like a fangirl, but you may be the only person that can answer this question for all of us out there. Is Betty White a vampire?
Yes. She sucked the blood out of B. Arthur. There's your quote.
See, I knew it.
If I do, I love
Betty White.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh yeah, she's great. I definitely would like to get down to Los Angeles one of these days and visit. Actually, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to do the live Christmas event for Combat Radio one of these days. So
let's give a shout out to Ethan.
Hey, Ethan.
Yes.
We love Ethan, and we love Loda.
Oh, yes.
And Loda is in my sitcom pilot writing class.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah. She's very talented, and I'm really looking forward to. We're going to level 2 next month.
Oh, we can't leave out Sean, of course, whose idea was to do the Christmas event.
I mean, Sean I've known since a little girl, and what she created with the whole Christmas thing. I got to MC it one year, one of those outdoor things, and it was. And I'm like, well, who's going to be walking by? And he's like, just get up there and talk.
Didn't you co-host with Caroline Hennessy that year?
Yes. So I did it with Caroline Hennessy one year, and I directed her in a play, actually. And, so Ethan got me over my stage fright, because in the beginning when I would do his show, and he started asking me to come in and co-host with him. And I said, well, I need to be prepared. Just tell me who it's going to be so I can, do some studying. Well, that's not the way Ethan works. It's like whoever shows up, and then suddenly it's Sheila E. walking in the door. And it's like, okay, here we go.
Wow.
Glamorous love. Yeah.
Oh, that is something. Yeah, that's so hard to imagine. But yeah, one of these days I'll need to try and get down there. Well, when I say one of these days,
actually,
obviously you have to be that particular time of year. Yes, Hunter.
You and me both, because he actually reached out to me, because I've been involved since I'm 31 with just the promoting thing. I haven't actually been to a live event of it yet, but he's been talking for quite a few years about getting me to fly out there, and which I want to do, obviously. But now COVID happened, and it's like, well, we can't go nowhere. At least I can't anyway. So, but I do. I would really love to get out there during the whole event and just be a part of it, because it really is an awesome cause.
Yeah, it's really, really special. And for Sean to have thought of it as a little girl, and it says a lot about her parents, too.
Yes, it does. And she's making me feel old, by the way, because when I first met Ethan, she was like, what was she, like 7 years old, something like that?
In 2012?
In 2012, right? I had been 32 at the time, so like I was younger than I am now, and it's just like, now I'm just like, dude, you got to stop growing up, because the older you get, the older I get, and I don't like it.
I think I was 38 in 2012, something like that.
Oh my God, yeah, that's right, dude. You had like the long ponytail like you do now, and you had like the goatee going on like you do now. I literally thought this guy was Tyson from Earth 2, and kind of frightened me a little bit, because that's where my mind goes sometimes. So
One of these times I'll be, we'll do a show, and then he won't see me. You'll see the back of my head. I'll turn around to camera, and I'll be like a new me. Alrighty, shall we move to the second word?
Word 2.
Alrighty. The next.
We'll stop when one of us gets one right. How about that? Unless it's like 3 hours from now.
Right. Well, there's only 5, so it's
Okay.
But this is exactly what the purposes of this, to generate conversation. So I'm not that we were doing fine, but so currently the score is 0-all. Next word starts with a T. Word is time server. It is a noun. And Does time server mean one who is frequently imprisoned? Is it a person who changes his opinions to fit the times or to be compliant with a superior? Or is it one who maintains their schedule at the expense of everyone else's?
First one.
Hunter is going with A.
I was going to say A too. So
Really?
should I pick a different one so we'll have a different score?
Sure, give it a shot. We'll see.
All right. The third one.
Third one. The third one is one who maintains their schedule. So let me put you down for that. It was actually B. It's
Okay.
A time server is a person who changes his opinions to fit the times or to be compliant with a superior.
I told you, I've been dive bombing on this crap lately. I think it's a conspiracy, Stan. I really do.
The funny thing is, each time I think I'm going to... Anyway, let's do another one.
That's fine. Oh, shall I give the example for what read the
No, I think we should go to the next one.
all right, fair enough.
I'm done with the time server. I have to change my opinion.
All right, this next word begins with an A, and it is... It's got 5 syllables. Abydocomist. Abydocomist. That is spelled ABYDOCO and then MIST, like mist.
So it's not a beetle. It's not a beetle coming like one of the 5 beetles maybe having an orgasm.
One of the 5 beetles. No, in fact, it is not. And yes, the stress is on the 4th syllable. Yes, sorry?
While they're on a hollow tree.
Yes,
Okay.
the stinging beetles.
What are the 3 options here?
3 options, yes. Is it A, a liar who boasts of his or her falsehood? B, one whose stuttering is punctuated with spittle? Or C, a disgraced nun?
A disgraced nun.
Hunter's going with C as a disgraced nun. Say again?
B.
B is one who's... And... the score is still 0-0. It is actually a liar who boasts of his or her falsehood.
Dude, I never sucked this bad.
We were terrible at this.
Well, nobody's winning, so I mean, it's you know.
I never sucked this bad. It's like, oh well.
You know who's winning? Everybody who listens to this. That's
There you go. There we go.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right, what's the third one?
This is actually the 4th one. It is starts with an N.
Yeah.
And the word is nitorosity. That is...
This is like some fucking pervert that rapes people in the night, right?
It is spelled NIDOROSITY. It is a noun.
What's the word again? Night or what?
Nitorosity.
Nitorosity.
Is nitorosity, it is noun, is it an idiotic idea, the lowest part of a reptile's anatomy, or a belch that tastes of cooked meat?
B.
Hunter is going with B. Mr. Z.
A.
Going with A, which is an idiotic idea. Okay. I forgot how to draw an S. It is C, a belch that tastes of cooked meat.
No. I still say it's some creepy pervert that goes out in the night and probably defiles old women. That's what I'm saying. That's what that word is. You see this guy up in here, man?
Sorry. Let's see here. So, yes, nitorosity.
It's nothing but love, Tyson. Nothing but love, brother.
I understand. All right, final word of the game.
Final. Right, we got to get this both wrong.
Here's a chance to tie it up or to... Actually, you're already tied, so let's see if we can tie it at 1. Or one of you can pull ahead. This word starts with a Z. There are not very many Z words in this book. There are actually 3, and I've picked this one. Sorry. The word is Zauerswapped. It is spelled ZOWER SWOPPED. It is an adjective.
Adjective.
Sauerswapped. So, is Sauerswapped foul-tempered, foul-smelling, or wearing one's belt too tightly?
B.
B is foul-smelling. Hunter goes with B.
I'm going to go.
Gonna go with B as well. The answer is A. It was foul-tempered.
Yes, we did it.
Yay!
We did it. We lose.
5.
High five, buddy.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That is the first time. That is the first time that I never got at least one right. Oh my god.
Well played.
Thank you.
So now of course, do you know what all the first letters of each word spells out?
Oh, yes. So the first word starts with an S. The second word starts with a T. The third word starts with an A. The fourth word starts with an N. And the fifth word starts with a Z. Ding, 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 ding.
That's a great way to end the show. Thank you guys so much. That's my heart out for you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
And thank you, Hunter. I see all the likes that you do, and I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I've been noticing it for years, and I really do. It means a lot. And
you're welcome.
And it was great to put a face to the and talking and know that you're as dumb as I am. And that's great. That is very comforting.
We'll have to get you back on when you can, of course.
Yeah.
Been very nice meeting you. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Yes, very nice meeting you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Stan Zimmerman. That was awesome, dude. That was awesome.
It was quite fun. Let me go ahead and take this jacket off real quick.
Yeah. I'll just keep talking to the fans.
Okay, I won't be able to hear it.
Whatever you want.
Wow,
That's fine.
Oh, look, it looks like
That's
my
fine.
head's about to come off if I do this because my part of my body was disappearing. I can't get it to do that again. Oh well.
So, listeners, that was Stan Zimmerman, and so the one question I did want to ask him, but I didn't get a chance to ask him, was how was it on Roseanne? But that's okay though, because we know that he was pressed for time, and I'm grateful that he was able to come on. So, out of the blue, and in fact, I was talking to Tyson last Saturday. I was sitting in the studio here, and we were talking about the show, different ideas, things like that. And in fact, I think I initiated the conversation. Anyway, I had reached out to Stan Zimmerman, and I said, you know what? Fuck it. I mean, it can't hurt to ask somebody to, if they are interested or do they want to come on or whatever. And I'm glad I did, because this was awesome. I had fun. Even though we both lost the game, that's okay though. It was still quite awesome. So I thank him for coming on, taking the time out of his busy schedule for making it happen. And he's an awesome guy. So
yes, indeed, that was quite fun. I resisted asking just questions about Golden Girls because it was my impulse to do so, but I'm glad I managed to. I managed to not do that too much. If at all.
Well, it was my impulse to ask him about Roseanne because I am the Lost Connor kid, literally and figuratively. I grew up in that household, and there was a lot of. There was a lot of questions I definitely wanted to ask him, but I thought it may be more important to talk about his new stuff. So since he dove into his new projects, why not? Because we can always bring him on a different time and ask him about like Roseanne, Golden Girls, things like that. Because again, I started watching Golden Girls when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, just to watch it, and fell in love with it. It's definitely it's different of its time period, and it's the 80s. I'm not like trying to make myself sound older than I really am, but back then it was definitely a different time period. So to have
1985, actually,
yes, so to have a strong all-female cast. Particularly older all-female cast was incredible because you got to see what it was like to be an older woman and the everyday lives or everyday trials. And, like the one time they were in the convenience store trying to find out the price of condoms. It was Dorothy and it was what was Betty White's character's name in the and
Rose Nyland.
Rose, yes. So they were in a drugstore or convenience store or whatever it was, and they were buying condoms because they were going on vacations with their boyfriends, and they were kind of embarrassed when the guy said, "Attention, please. How much are the pack of condoms? Attention, please. We need a price check on some condoms." And they were visibly embarrassed, but it was definitely nice. I mean, sorry for their embarrassment, but it was definitely nice to see like that elderly people go through the same shit we do.
Sure. It was also a very poignant show at times. Like it had a good amount of emotion. There was an episode that dealt with birthdays, I believe. There might have been more than one, but like there was one specifically. Like there was a funny segment where Rose had taken Dorothy to have a birthday at a place that was clearly for children because it was also hosted by a clown, Mr. Haha, I believe was the name of it, and Dorothy just wasn't having it. And but in the same episode, there was a very touching scene with pretty much just Betty White. I think she's giving essentially kind of like a monologue, or I don't know. It's not really called a monologue in that. It was a one-hander. I don't know. But she's talking. She's basically celebrating the birthday of her dead husband, Charlie, I believe was it. So she's kind of having a conversation with him. Basically, he's not there, but
yes. I remember that. Because didn't and it's actually pretty weird because there was a scene from Roseanne where pretty much the same thing happened. But didn't Rose talk about her dead husband quite often, like throughout the season or the series?
Certainly mentioned.
Yeah,
him.
like here and there.
Charlie came up. Yeah, well, it was definitely. I think it had happened fairly recently. But I don't actually remember how long it had been canonically in the show. So
I remember. Now, keep in mind, a very young Hunter was watching the Golden Girls. So I remember certain scenes, certain things. Like, I don't remember, like, seasons and things like that. But for me, it was, like, I don't know. It was, like, weird because I wasn't, like, your typical child. Like, for example, I found what was entertaining what most people or most kids probably wouldn't. Like, for example, Golden Girls. Entertaining as and excuse my French, Tyson, sorry. And Roseanne, for example. To me, like, as a kid, I may probably not have understood, like, what the attraction was, but now as an adult, I realized that, the Connors were just blue-collared, a blue-collared family, house, all that good stuff, a couple kids. And, sometimes they had, like, their ups, sometimes they had their downs and in-betweens and things like that. And I think I understand what my attraction was as an adult, more so as a child, but definitely when I was a child, and I want to say as far back as age like probably 8 or 9 when I was watching Roseanne and the Golden Girls. And so I wasn't your typical child. Like, I enjoyed things like Dragnet, My Three Sons, Dobie Gillis.
Dobie Gillis, yeah.
Yep. I remember watching
I like Dragnet a lot. Dragnet was Jack
Dragnet
Webb and Harry Morgan.
Yep. My favorite was the one where the guy was running around dressed in a superhero's costume stealing movie posters.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Oh, yeah, it was so heartbreaking. So at the end, he was caught, right?
Okay.
And he was about to be arrested, and he basically turned his head against one of the superhero posters, and he was crying. And when they took him away, like because the way they shot it, the way he was crying, special effects and things like that, the poster... I think it was Superman. He was actually having tears come down his eyes. So, I mean, some of those Dragnet episodes were phenomenal.
I'll have to go back and watch some of them. I definitely watched a bunch of them back when I lived in Washington. I think they were on Netflix or something. So it was either Netflix or it was something that came with the cable service, because that's where I saw Topsy Turvy, was with the thing that came with the cable service. It was like Xfinity or Comcast or something. I don't know.
You know what's weird?
Lots of things, but what do you have in mind?
Well, I dear listener, I didn't want to. I really did not want to make Stan uncomfortable, because I certainly could, acting like a fangirl. But kind of like Ralph Garman, when he became friends with Adam West, and he was a fan of Adam West as Batman when he was a really little kid, to grow up to be an adult, to be his friend. And I'm not saying that Stan Zimmerman considers me a friend or anything like that, but it was cool to be a part of his world when I was a kid, to grow up to finally talk to the guy that was behind Roseanne and the Golden Girls, and of course very Brady Bunch because I love that, or sequel because I love that movie as well. Mm-hmm. It was cool. You know, add to the things, or the cool things I done when I'm like 70 years old, and I'm like, you know what I did?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sure. I was. I never thought I'd be able to talk to Andy Dick about, you know, any of the things
that too. Yeah, that too.
Like you know, get to tell him that I enjoyed things like In the Army Now and God Spoke, the making of, or any of those, you know, or it's because I didn't really watch news radio. It just wasn't. I wasn't watching TV around that time. I started watching some of it recently. It's funny. You know, I'll probably watch more of it. With Roseanne, I was not really on my radar because it was on ABC, and as we've said, as I mentioned on the show before, there was a time period where if you didn't have cable, you weren't watching ABC in my neck of the woods.
I think that's true for everywhere, because back then, like, if you didn't have cable, you had like 5 basic channels. That was it, like the local stations.
We had 3 channels. Yeah, we had 3, 6, and 9. 3 was okay. So when it started, 3. Well, when I was a child, it was 3 was sorry, not 9. It was 3, 6, and 13. So 3 was. Give me a second. So it started off where 3 was CBS, 6 was ABC. So it was ABC for a while, and then 13 was PBS. So that's where I watched Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers and all that stuff, right? So sometime in the mid-'80s, like around the run of the Gummy Bears cartoon. So,
I loved that cartoon when I was a kid.
They were on ABC. ABC, let's all be there. You know, and like you'd watch the Saturday morning cartoons and have like the 3D animated roller coaster thing and then go into the commercial. Yeah, anyway, so that basically it switched. And there was a big switch, and then 3 became NBC. CBS moved to 6, and PBS did the same. So ABC was gone, so I didn't get to watch Roseanne. I didn't get to watch Twin Peaks. I think the A-Team might have been on that as well. I'm not sure. But there was other stuff, and also there was a time period where it was like, I'm not going to be watching TV. But you know, if I probably would have watched Roseanne if I had access to it. I knew people who watched it and thought it was funny. People would talk about it.
Oh, dude. I'll tell you what, man.
The Jehovah's Witnesses across the street thought Roseanne was funny.
To grow up watching Roseanne, it was definitely you learned a lot, and the one thing they didn't talk about, except for maybe like 2 times, was politics and religion. Except the one time when they were explaining it to DJ when he was little kid, and of course when the politician came to the door and Roseanne's like, let me take you through the neighborhood and show you what it's really like. But there was just something special about the show back then, and then major disappointment when they brought it back, and it just went awry, and they had to force her off the show, Roseanne off the show. But they made it in such a way where she had died on the show, and I cried. I cried when Jackie was having a moment was either Darlene or Becky. No, Darlene. And it was right after they decided to keep the show going as the Connors. Drop Roseanne, her character died, and it was a very tender moment. So I think what I was crying for, I wasn't really crying for the actual person of Roseanne, because I don't agree with how she's been. Although that could be a mental thing. I'm not really sure, because I'm not her friend or not in her private life. But I was crying for the character itself, because that's what I grew up with. That's what I knew. So that was the sad part. So
yeah, I'd watch that just to see. I wonder how. I mean, they're actresses, you know. I wonder how difficult it was for them to act sad, depending on how upset or actually sad they were. Like, could they just tap into how upset they were that they couldn't work with her anymore, or that they went through this thing? Because part of them's got to be happy that they've got a job still.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the other part's like,
I'm just keeping it real. It's like, hey, we're still employed. You know,
right?
There's a lot of people that had come together to make that show happen again.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of a few of them on record as being fairly angry and about what ended up happening and how it could have just all gone down the drain for all of them. So I'm sure there was a great deal of relief. So now imagine that. Now you're relieved, but you've got to be sad. But you are actually sad. because there was something that existed before where it's like, we're all friends here, and then it's like, well, except now, now we can't be friends with this one person, we can't be seen with this one person, and this is the person who's responsible for the show. We've still got to do our acting thing. And
well, take and I hope to bring him on the show eventually, so I'm not bashing him. So just in case anyone hears this, it gets back to him. Mm-hmm. Me and the wife love The Big Bang Theory, and my favorite character, I mean, aside from, like, you would think, like, the obvious Johnny Galecki because he was on Roseanne, but it's not. He's my second favorite. My first favorite is Sheldon Cooper, and it was because actual Jim Parsons, I think he didn't want to sign up for another 2 seasons or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's why they ultimately stopped at season 12. So I'm not bashing him because I want him to come on the show eventually at some point, because I would love to have a conversation with him. Absolutely love The Big Bang Theory.
Season 12.
Yeah, so after season 12, they probably could have gone on for 2 more seasons, but he wanted to go on and do something else. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not blaming him, because like I said, I want him to come back. I want him to come on the show eventually at some point.
Well, I'm always grateful when people are guests on the show when they come on.
Yes.
I remember what I was going to say now. We get a listenership spike out of Columbus, Ohio, every now and then.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
And I don't know why. I don't know who's listening in Columbus, Ohio, but thank you. And
hell yeah, thank you.
And why haven't y'all reached out to us on social media? I need to know this isn't like an anomaly. So if you're a listener in Columbus, Ohio, or thereabouts, please, at the show, it's Anti-Social Show and the numeral 1. I'm on REVT23 on Twitter, and Hunter is Zombie Bacterium, ZOMBIEBACTERIUM.
I will go you one further, because one of my favorite zombie movies is Zombieland, and one of the main characters is Columbus, as in Columbus, Ohio. So Columbus, Columbus, Ohio.
Isn't that Emma Stone? Is she Columbus?
No, it's Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, Jesse Eisenberg is Columbus. Okay,
from New Jersey. Yeah. So Columbus, I will do you one better. I will personally, right now, here and now, in front of our other listeners and our co-hosts, I will personally invite you on this show. You can have an hour, 2 hours, I don't care. Reach out to us. Well, okay, 3 hours is a little much, but maybe an hour. I will personally invite you on the show if you reach out to us. So when we don't have... See, I'm telling the truth. He's sneezing. So... Columbus, reach out to us. Let us know who you are. Let us know why there's a spike. Are you a super fan? Do you deserve a shirt? Do you deserve the anti-social show, armor? I will give it to you. Oh, by the way, I came up with, so you know how, like, for example, I've mentioned, like, combat, the combat radio universe. That's, I guess, I coined the WWE universe. Now we have the anti-verse. That's exactly what we are. We are the anti-verse. And Tyson's laughing. But you know what's funny about that? Because we're not really, like, we're not anti-social to the point where, like, we don't want to interact with people. We don't want to help people. The anti-social show, or the word anti-social, has always been a joke between Tyson and I, because, we're kind of like, if we don't have to be anywhere, we kind of just stay home. So it kind of portrays like we're anti-social, but it doesn't mean we don't love it. We don't enjoy a good social gathering. Yeah. But since
interacting with people,
yes. So, but we are anti-social show. So therefore, we are the anti-verse, and we've coined this. So yeah.
Yeah, I was glad that we got to talk with Stan about the Combat Radio charity stuff a little bit, because
yes.
Well, just because we have that in common.
Oh, and Ethan, just so you know that Tyson and I are making a major comeback on the Halloween album this coming October, if time allows. We've worked very hard on a couple of things, so don't forget about us this year. Ethan, please, thank you. You're the best. We love you.
Don't you forget about me.
dude, I want to sing that to him so bad because how many times, like, and nothing against him. Like, I love the man to pieces. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he's very busy, obviously, and it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And, I've become a bit of a whore when it came to, when we first came out with the Halloween album, The Haunted Mansion, or Haunted Soundtrack.
The Haunted
so much
Tour.
So,
the Haunted
yes,
Tour.
The Haunted Tour. Mm-hmm. So much so, dude, that I was going to surprise you with doing an entire episode of Fritz, interviewing past guests, like he abducted them on Antisocial Show. So it's going to be like, I'll give you just audience before we listeners before we cut out. I'm going to give you a clip of this. So this is how it's going to sound.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Antisocial Show. Hunter and Tyson can't be with us right now, but I would like to really talk about the first year that I did this, the Haunted Tour, and I got some guests to come on. They were the first visitors of everything. And then, of course, the one guy that I played from, Jersey, Mr. L, that sort of thing. Fritz, where's Mr. L? You shut up about that. Mr. L is having a sabbatical. He's resting. I thought I told you not to mention him ever again. Sorry, folks. So, yeah, that's one thing. I was going to surprise you with it.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Dude, I had a whole thing planned. I never got around to it, but I definitely want to attempt to do it and send it to you. So see how obviously it sounds to you. If you want to upload it, you upload it.
Okay. Yeah. No, it'd be great. We'd get some more Fritz out of you and figure out what to do with it. Because I still need to finish trying to edit the Haunted Tour.
Oh. Which, by the way, dude, I have to formally apologize about that.
Oh?
Yeah, so, dear listener, when we were able to sit down and do the second audio, before that, I was in an environment where I couldn't really speak loud, and it was a really bad year. But this year, I'm in a proper environment, and I can scream as loud as I want. So if Tyson wants to rework that and get it out there, I would definitely love it, and I would definitely be down for it, because the one thing that I have, if I die, if I go to my grave, the one thing I can say, well, I'm kind of famous for, famous for, is the fact that I played Mr. Fritz, and it was the best thing that I ever did.
Fritz. Yes.
And I thank Tyson for that.
Hello, Fritz.
I mean, well, it was you're welcome. Thank you for going along with it, and portraying the character. I know that I was I feel like I was kind of exacting about and then we did have sound problems, so we needed to do it a few times. But you were you were a good sport, and I think it turned out good, because I think as long as people are good sports about things, that more stuff gets done. When there's time to do it,
Oh yeah, may I interject? So when we did the first one, the audience or whoever listened to this obviously did know that it took a couple weeks to every night, by the way, to put the whole thing together, and it was really fun. I mean, every single the nights that we got together, we came up with the rooms, created the dialogue, practiced the voices and stuff like that. It was phenomenal. It was fun. It was definitely one of the funnest projects I had the pleasure of being part of, because I never thought that I would be a part of something like that. So for me to come out of my shell and put myself out there, it's like, oh my god, this is great, this is awesome. It's like being an actor without being an actor. So and of course I found my Mr. Fritz, which and I'm Fritz. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely an awesome time, not only to create the content, the rooms, the lines, to rehearse them. It was definitely was it 5 weeks? I think it was 5 weeks. It was definitely 5 weeks of fun. It was something that I look forward to. So it's
okay, I'm going to work now, but when I get off, I know I'm going to work on this, and like, oh my God, it's the best. So no, I thank you.
Well, you're welcome and thank you. We're trying to, we're just trying to do this stuff, have fun, and have time to do it. Well, that's about all the time we have for Antisocial Show. I'm Tyson Sainer.
And I'm Hunter Block.
Be decent to each other.
Absolutely. Peace.
Have a good time, folks.